Good afternoon, friends. This is an afternoon session, and of course, it tends to be sleepy, but I can assure you that it will not be a sleepy session, because in this session you have three stalwarts who have been in many ways engaged with women's issues. You have Dr. Sabina Martins, who is the convener of Badatusar Goa Bachao Abhiyan, and Aam Aadmi Aurat Against Gambling. And you have Dr. Radhika Nayak, who is the chairperson of the Pata Municipal Council and principal of SS Depot College, and also she has a lot of academic credentials also. She's done her doctorate. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact subject you've done it in. It's economics. And you have Sangamitra Mayankar, who's been a passionate journalist from the time she's been writing. I know her from the time she's joined. And so we have three dynamic persons who will be addressing you on this subject, that is, if sustained exhaustive reporting on rape led to change in laws, why neglect other pressing issues? The question is that there has been a lot of reporting on rape. We might question the nature of the reporting on rape, but there has been a media pushed interventions on rape, but there hasn't been that kind of enthusiasm in covering the field on the ground in terms of various other concerns, or in terms of linking and contextualizing the conditions and situations under which rape is taking place, or under which various acts of violence are taking place. So, therefore, I guess the organizers thought of introducing this session here to look at why, why other pressing issues are being neglected, and what can be done to ensure that other pressing issues are duly covered. So I hand over the mic to Dr. Radhika Nayak.
Very good afternoon, and I'd like to thank Dr. Albertina Arovega for the introduction. It indeed is nice to have all of us back on a common platform. We meet at several such fora. We make all the right noises, and then we go back, not finding that enough is done, or we are able to mobilize enough in the areas that bring us together. But it is always heartening to be a part of the Women's Day celebrations, and to commemorate it, and to pass on the message to everyone who is ready to listen, that it is time that we all join our hearts and hands to empower women across the spectrums, urban and rural divide, or whatever else we're talking about, that we should be concerned that there are women out there who are not able to enjoy their freedom, who are not able to voice their opinions, who are not able to access their rights, and who are not able to live a full quality of life. And therefore, at every such opportunity, my biggest appeal, and particularly I'm looking at the young ladies over here, my appeal is always that we are the fortunate ones. We have the benefit of education. We have the benefit of being able to be part of such discussion groups, and it is really our responsibility to go that one step further and take the message to those who still need to be sensitized, made aware, and supported in order to be able to enjoy what is rightfully theirs. With those few words, I come to the topic of this afternoon. As Albertina said, it's a post-lunch session with everybody having been well fed and taken good care of by International Center, as is their custom. But I'm sure that what we are going to discuss is going to be of interest to all of us to such an extent that definitely we would like to participate in the discussion, and therefore I'm just going to take off from where Albertina left. That the topic is why should media not focus attention on other areas if they were able to ensure a positive change in the rape laws. Of course, we are all quite shaken up by what trauma young girls and the not so young women across India face every time that they are assaulted sexually, and it ends up in rape. And of course now with modification of the definition of rape, whatever else gets encompassed into what we consider as rape. Hats off to the late Justice Verma for all the radical and revolutionary work that he put together. There are so many aspects of his recommendations that have yet to be incorporated, and more important than that, though the law is in place, it requires to be implemented at every stage with sensitive judges taking up the issue. And we in Goa, unfortunately, were exposed to one such incident quite recently, and we have seen that the new law has been interpreted, and we have all kept up with what is developing on that front. But as a member of the local governance, as an elected representative in local government, today I informed the chairperson of this session that I'm going to focus my attention on that law that is languishing for 17 long years, or rather that draft for a law that is languishing for 17 long years. I must salute the determination and the vision, the foresight, irrespective of what our political affiliations may be. I must take my hats off to the former Prime Minister, the late Rajiv Gandhi, because it was under his leadership and vision, let me call it, that women saw women in politics saw the brightest aspect of what reform law can do, and that is with the 73rd and the 74th Amendment to the Constitution of India, where 33% of women made their way into the local bodies at panchayat and municipal levels. That was indeed a red letter day in the history of women empowerment when we take a look at it from the political aspect. You find that women who were voiceless, who did not know probably where the panchayat was even housed or where the municipality was housed, were in fact being pushed. I say being pushed because the law made it necessary for women to be over there contesting the elections. So very, very unwillingly, the men were making way for the women. The brothers who could no longer contest, the fathers who had to give up their seats, the father-in-laws who could no longer contest, or the brothers-in-law, the husbands, whoever they were. Because the law now did not allow them to contest from what was their playground, so to say, or what was their political bastion, so to say, they were now compelled to make way for the women. There was a lot of criticism. People said that, oh, these women are just rubber stamps. Oh, these women are just puppets. Oh, these women are not going to participate. They don't know anything about anything. But given the time, one term, in the next term we saw that across India, there was a visible difference being made by these women who were not only participating, but they were enjoying being able to plan for their communities, and they were enjoying implementing those plans for their communities. allow me to say it, and maybe I will be open to a lot of criticism for this, but I am convinced that women take up their responsibilities in local governance with a lot more commitment, a lot more honesty, a lot more integrity than their male counterparts. And I'm on record on this on earlier occasions as well. I have seen the kind of passion with which women want to make a difference at the local governance level. It is only a matter of being given an opportunity. And once this opportunity has been placed at their doorstep, like it or not, the men have had to make way for them, and they have proven beyond doubt that they are here to stay, and they are here to stay for the good of the community. And so now my next question, which is pertinent to this session, if the 73rd and 74th Amendment have now proven that that was not a wrong decision, that women could no longer be, kept in the background, they would no longer just submit themselves passively to becoming rubber stamps, then when is that law going to come which is going to reserve seats for women in the higher bodies of lawmaking, in the assemblies of state governments and in the parliament in India? The draft was passed by the Rajya Sabha in 2010, and till now the government has not been able to muster the support or the courage to be able to table it in Lok Sabha. There are very, very powerful women in the parliament who have across party lines come together, and they have said that they are going to forget all party differences, ideological differences, because they are united in this demand for reservation for women in the higher bodies of lawmaking. Sushma Swaraj has gone on record a number of times saying that if you leave it to political parties, women will never be given a representation. And Goa is a very, very good example. You can see that for so many years, we've not had political parties saying that, okay, here we are giving our women members a chance. It has been my fight with the local parties on many an occasion. When do you want the women, or where do you want them? You want them only when you want to approach the voters for their vote. You only want the women because they can take you or give you access into the kitchens of the homes. They can take your message to the women in the homes. You don't want the women in any other higher bodies of decision making. You don't want to share power with them unless you are compelled to do so. And therefore it is high time, I feel, that if media can take up the cudgels and ensure that there can be a very, very powerful law for rape, then definitely media has to play this role very responsibly of pushing for reservation for women in assemblies and the parliament. We have recently the gender manifesto being released. There's a lot of debate that is going on TV channels. What should be the share in the manifestos of political parties who are contesting the general elections now? How much weightage should they give to gender issues? What should be the gender priorities that they should announce as being part of their manifesto? Should they talk about reproductive rights of women? Should they talk of health needs for women? Should they talk of assuring them various other facilities? It is high time that the political parties also make it known about how serious they are about sharing power with women. Because be it across the political spectrums, from the heartland of Uttar Pradesh to Madhya Pradesh to Rajasthan, you find that the male elected members to parliament and even to the state assemblies shudder at the thought of so many women coming into assemblies and parliament. Hamara kya hoga is their common question. Where will they go? Unless they say the number of seats are increased. So that okay, if we have to give them some seats, then we must have others which are kept for us. Hamara kya hoga? It's high time, I feel, that the media address this issue and take up the battle on behalf of the women, because as we all believe, women can make all the difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Radhika, and also thank you for speaking to the time. Dr. Radhika, it's 15 minutes, sorry, I should have said that, for each speaker. Dr. Radhika has raised a very important point about coverage by the media about women in politics. And may I add that often when the media is covering it, they are only covering cases and stories about how behind the women their husbands are operating through them, etc. I don't say this doesn't happen, but there's so much of that focus and there's not an ear to the ground necessarily on the things that women are doing, and that I think is an important message that she wanted to convey, and that the media should be urging for and pushing for this kind of reservation. Besides that, I think closer home in Goa, the Panchayat Raj Act has been enacted, but the Municipality Act, as per the 74th Amendment, has been enacted, but the reservations. In fact, let me just intervene and tell you that the first time I contested the elections to the Ponda Municipal Council was way back in 1996, and that was after the 74th Amendment made provision for the 33% reservation. And what I said about all women was true about me also. The ward was the one from which my husband contested. And everybody said, Ata tuka karpak maidchina. And in fact, the political opponents made sure that his ward was reserved for women, so that he would not, come forward in the political arena, and his career would be cut short. But they didn't bargain for a woman who would be probably more vociferous and more vocal than my husband was. Unfortunately, now he has taken a backseat in politics totally, and he has left the arena open to me, proving beyond doubt that here was one wife who was not going to listen, forget other men, but not even her own husband when it came to political convictions. But yes, I want to share also that when it was reserved, I won hands down. But the moment, and this was the ward in which I spent all my waking hours, sometimes even sacrificing my family life. I even took leave from my college just so to be able to, learn the ropes of local governance. I spent 5 years dedicated to upliftment of that ward. And I thought that this is all that my ward needs. And they are going to elect me blindly the next time. And the ward was de-reserved, obviously, because reservation goes by rotation. And so this ward, which I contested from, became a ward for general election. And there were male contestants. And I was the only female, believing that when it was reserved, I had done so much work that now there's no question. I mean, they won't even look at the other candidates. But how naive and mistaken I was. I lost by 1 vote. And so let me also pass on that message that 1 vote matters. Particularly in local governance, 1 vote can make all the difference. I lost against my male counterparts who were not even 1/10 with the educational qualifications that I had. But they had a lot of muscle power and a lot of money power. They were backed by all the right people, in inverted commas. And they made sure that I was not there. The next time,
I said I have had enough of politics. I'm not going to go back to ungrateful people. That's how. And just by the way, that was the time I did my PhD. I said, enough, I've done enough for other people, now I must do something for myself. I did my PhD and qualified to become a principal as well, but that was the time when I did it, when I lost the election. But when the next round of elections came, the people from a reserve ward came to me and said, ma'am, we want you to contest in our ward. And they made me victorious, hands down. And from there I have gone back to my original ward, which again now by rotation is reserved. And in that ward I've won, and I've now become the chairperson of the municipal council with a lot of, because that position is also reserved, because if it was not reserved, nobody would allow you to become the chairperson. Because there would be rotation, there would be demand for, musical chairs and all sorts of things that you read about. But now we have this position which is reserved, and we have a very, very specific agenda towards which I'm working. And let me also confess that none of it would be possible without my male councillor colleagues. They are very, very supportive. And they allow you to plan, they help you to implement. And therefore, whenever I talk of empowerment, I say that it is not just the women who have to be sensitized and be convinced about wanting to be empowered. It is the men who have to be sensitized to allow women to be empowered. So whenever people come to colleges and say we want to hold women empowerment sessions, I tell them, and they say, call all the girls. I say, no, please call all the boys. Because they are the ones who have to allow their wives the freedom, their sisters the freedom, their mothers the freedom. They are the ones who have to respect them. They are the ones who have to allow them to soar to greater heights. Thank you, Alfred.
We now move on to Dr. Sabina Martins.
Bailansa Sar observed International Women's Day yesterday, and the theme for this year's International Women's Day was overcoming obstacles in women's development. And therefore, when we are speaking now, which are the other topics that we need to cover, where besides your rape and sexual harassment, which need public attention? We have a whole list of them, and I don't think so this 15 minutes is going to be sufficient. So what I will do is just pick up one or two issues which we feel very strongly about and focus on that. But I still feel I should mention this one case study which we presented yesterday, because that encompasses all the obstacles that a woman faces, and that to a rural woman. We had this case of a girl called Rizwana, 22-year-old. She became a widow, and she has two small children. She was living in a joint family and was making her ends meet by working in a factory. She used to go early in the morning at 8 o'clock, come back at 6 o'clock, and she was earning 1,500. So this is the first obstacle that we see. We are working for so long, we don't even have minimum wages. So how can a person who is working so hard from morning to evening make her ends meet? And mind you, today the cylinder cost 1,000 rupees. So 1,000 over, gone. And that is her wages. So this is the condition of the, I'm just throwing these points, I'm not going to elaborate. You get the point. What I'm trying to say is, this is the condition. So no labor inspector is going to see whether these laws are implemented. And this woman is supposed to survive. She had not heard about the widow pension scheme, so life continued. In the meantime, her family members got her married to a Hindu. Again, that was a blackmail, told took 40,000 from that man and said, you will get you married, got her married to that. Fortunately, this boy happens to be a nice person. He was from MP, was living in the neighborhood. So he said, here there is a widow with 2 children, we need to, somebody should look after her, whatever, so got her married. And he said, that giving this 40,000 so we can make that her jewelry or whatever, Mangal Sutra and all. This man took that 40,000 and disappeared. Okay. Now, in the meantime, what happened was, this brother-in-law told her, see, you are living with us. This was before the marriage. I'm jumping in. So before, she said that I have just learned there is this widow pension scheme. So I'm going to give you this widow pension scheme. You just have to give me your ration card, your bank account number and whatever, photographs. And I will come and you just have to sign the papers. So he goes, takes her from a factory, 10 minutes break is there, takes her to the bank, just tells her, just rolls the paper up, sign here, and reaches her back to the factory. And this woman is waiting for a widow pension scheme, widow pension scheme, widow pension scheme. No widow pension came to her. Then in this meantime, this marriage took place. One fine day she gets this letter from the bank that she has to pay her loan installment. She was shocked. She has never taken a loan. So she shows the brother-in-law this bank letter I have got. He said, yeah, I have taken a loan in your name. So he had taken, he told a widow pension scheme, but he actually fooled her and taken a loan. Now again here the bank authorities were in, they took this loan. They had a witness. This woman never got the money. She was not even aware. So the man has taken the money. See, all in the name of women, taken this loan. And he said, don't worry, I will pay. And he never paid that loan. So he thought of getting her married, got this 40,000. And then when the next letter came from the bank, he told this woman, told the husband, now you have to pay this loan because this woman has taken the loan. And this woman has never got that money, 25. So started blackmailing him, beating the husband and all, and they paid 5,000. So when the beating started, they didn't complain because he was from outside the state. Second time, so then they went to the police station, lodged a complaint that they were being beaten up. Nothing happened. Police didn't take any action. Thereafter, again, he said, I will pay. The police didn't do anything. She gets a letter again from the bank saying that if you don't pay, you have to come and pay. So she goes to court because she doesn't know anything. So she said, I've never taken the loan. She's telling the judge, I've never taken a loan. Why should I pay? I've not taken any money. The judge didn't listen to her. And she said, where is your lawyer? She says, I don't know. I don't even know what is a lawyer. So she said, I'll give you a legal aid lawyer. So this legal aid lawyer is given. I'm just telling a story to tell you all the systems that are there for women, how none of these systems function. This legal aid lawyer was taken. He tells her, you have to pay the money. She's trying to tell this lawyer, I've not taken this money, there is a fraud, there is a cheating involved. No. So the lawyer goes there, and then thereafter the judge said, if you don't pay, I am going to put you in jail. So somebody told her, go to Finance Assad. She went to Finance Assad office. And when she tells us she's not taken this loan, she's not signed any loan papers, she's not done anything, she said, okay. We said, let's go and file a police complaint. Second time we go to the police station, we file a police complaint. The police doesn't do anything. We said, file a case of 420, cheating, it's a fraud. They just call these brother-in-law and told her, you have to pay. Next hearing is coming. You have to pay the amount. 25,000 was the loan. In the meantime, these people had paid something like 10 to 18,000. After all that beating and whatever, they were scared. First of all, they don't have money to eat. And now they're making, arranging money to pay this loan. So again, what happened was, complaint was that he told the police, I will pay. So the next day it came in the court. She goes to the court because now this fellow will pay. And when she goes to the court, the judge gives a judgment that you are going to be in prison because you have not paid the money and sends her straight to jail. Now, why I'm telling you this, all these people take big loans, crores of rupees, they are all roaming free. We are reading Subrata Roy. Anyway, that's another story. After that, the judge is supposed to give the order in her hand. Suppose if I am sent to jail, I should get a letter in my hand that I have sent. Doesn't give her the letter. The letter is given to the police. And then when people called her, said, what happened since the jail and where is the order? Saying it's with the police. Now from Bishopli, she's taken now to Sada jail. I'm calling on the person, I don't have the judgment. So we said, okay, if she's putting to bail, let me apply for bail application. We put for bail, but we need that judgment order. Now by law, she has to get that order. The order was not given to her. It's with the police. So the husband came and with this and said, go to the to Sada jail before they reach there, and you get the judgment order so that we can file for a bail application. So we go to by the time she goes there, she's put inside the lockup, and the jail, the judgment which was supposed to be given so that people can move for bail is not given to her. And so she's kept inside the jail. Then we contacted a lawyer. I went to court. I first went to the crime department saying, this is forgery, and how can you put this woman inside when she's not taken the loan? They were busy with the Tejpal case. This side Tejpal was sitting, that side they are there. Nobody is attending to us. So the police told me, okay, fine. You, now that she's sent to jail, police can't do anything. I went to the crime branch. I said, immediately you lodge a thing. So I came to the High Court, Sessions Court, and said, let's apply for bail. When we went there, the judge was on leave. So say, now what happens? Somebody who is on duty now is in Mapsa. So we had to go to Mapsa Court. When we go to Mapsa Court, they're telling us, please get us the judgment order, where she's been sent to jail. So no judgment order. So here we want to file for bail, can't get it. And then we go to, I called the legal aid lawyer, I said, do you have a judgment order? Do you have a judgment order? So the judge says, the legal aid lawyer says, I don't know, my client has not briefed me. Now when you say my client has not briefed me, does this poor woman know that she can apply for bail, she can be out of jail or whatever? Nothing. He says, I don't know. I said, what kind of a lawyer you at least tell her what. The minute the judge gave the judgment, he went away. Thereafter, we go to the court. She landed in jail for, cutting a long story short, 21 days she was in the lockup. And in the meantime, we tried to arrange and all, got a lawyer who went to the thing. We tried to file for bail. Then this side arranged money, and we paid that money in the court so that she could be out. She had two small children. After paying the money, the bank should have, it was the duty of the bank to come to the court and say that she has paid that money. And so she can be out. After paying the money for 10 days, she's still in prison. Why? Because the bank lawyer doesn't come, or the bank people don't come to the court to say that she's paid the money. And then finally the bank lawyer said, I'm coming, but you have to give me 2,000 rupees. So again running for money to arrange 2,000 rupees, finally agreed could arrange 1,000 rupees. 500 rupees we managed, the judge finally comes to court, and then this girl is released. Okay, I'm putting out all the systems which have failed in this particular thing, and these are issues, we are looking at a major law, but we are not looking at how the systems are not functioning. Each of these systems, whether it is your legal aid system, whether it is your police, whether it is your judge, whether it is your jailer who didn't give the judgment, and now they're threatening us. So to me, this is a poor woman, and these are the issues, serious issues. We raised it, but it is not enough to, how we see a Nirbhaya case, people got angry and spilled on the streets. We don't find that reaction with such poor women. Okay, and I'm just highlighting two issues. One issue is the Domestic Workers Act, wherein we have been fighting for the last so many years to get that act passed in Goa. ILO has already passed, recognized domestic work as work. So many states have had Domestic Workers Welfare Board. They have enacted Domestic Workers Act. We have made with other domestic workers organizations. We have gone to the minister, we have gone to the Labour Commissioner, we have gone to Abertan Furtado, we've written letters to Chief Minister, but we don't get this Domestic Workers Act. Why aren't we giving our domestic workers their due share? If the Domestic Workers Welfare Board is set up, they get pension. Our domestic workers don't get pension. They would have got medical, ESI, that they don't get. All the facilities or insurance, whatever facilities even contract workers get, domestic workers don't get. And majority of the domestic workers are women. So why can't we, if we are all women who are, can go out and we are fighting for rights, we are fighting for our teachers are fighting, bank employees are fighting, everybody is fighting for their rights. But when it comes to domestic workers' rights, neither is the media supporting, because this is what is happening in the domestic workers field. And the last issue, 1 minute I think, is actually there are several issues. As I said, this 15 minutes is not sufficient. Is on the issue of casino and alcohol. These are economic policies of the state. All political parties say they are opposed to promotion of alcohol, promotion of gambling. All religious institutions, all the three religions we met, Catholic, Hindu, Muslim, everybody said we are against casinos and gambling. All women's organizations are in the profile saying that we don't want this. Now, despite there being a groundswell, why is it that we are not getting appropriate legislation? And this is my point, because somewhere down, the power, the money and everything is concentrated with the patriarchal setup, and they don't want to let it go. So they speak one thing, but they do another thing. And I think only when we reach this ignition temperature, so you can keep on heating, but you need the temperature where it has to burn. And we have not been able to reach this ignition temperature. And I think this is what is required right now. I think I'll stop here. I won't go further. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sabina, for through a live case study highlighting the various issues of how the mechanisms do not work, and to connect it to the subject. I think the challenge is for the media to look at because the devil always lies in the detail, and to look at the detail, they only look at high profile. Many times the media tends to look at high profile campaigns and does not look at the detail, and how, because it is in the detail that many laws get derailed, because the detail is not worked out. So I mean, she's raised many issues, and she's talked about the various systems there, the legal aid system, the police, the judiciary, the jailer, and we all know that all these banks, we all know that all these systems finally, even when it comes to laws and implementation of the laws, yes, the judges have to enforce the laws. I would say this, and I have to add this. But even as they have to enforce the laws, because the text of the law is there, they are bound by a principle that they have to enforce the law equitably. So there is a principle of equity involved, and they can take it into account, because many times the judiciary tends to justify judgments saying, but this is what the law is, so I can't go beyond. But they can. There is some space and some limit, and if they have the willpower, they can look into it. I'll move on to Sangamitra, and I'm sure she's from the media field itself, and I'm sure she has a lot to say.
Respected dignitaries on the desk and off the desk. Before starting, I would like to thank International Center for giving me this opportunity. Actually, this topic is, if sustained and exhaustive reporting on rape led to change in laws, why neglect other pressing issues? Pressing issues means what? Only related to women. Other issues are also there, like corruption, other things, robbery, then illegal construction, environmental degradation. So these issues also related to women. Women life is not isolated from all these issues. So I would like to highlight these issues also, because सगळ्या वडिलांनी सगळे ह्यो विषय already मांडला आसा, so I don't want to repeat that. I will speak on aspect of media. Actually, what this media does. All these dignitaries have said that media has to write, but media also has their own limitation. आता सगळी दुकान जर उघडे करत जाल्यार दाखयली म्हूण सवाला खातीर आमकांच खबर आसता आमी खंयच्या हातूंतसून वता तें. सो आतां पयलींची मिडिया एक वेगळी आशिल्ली, तेन्ना ती एक सोशल सर्वीस आशिल्ली, सोशल एक्टिविटी. आतां ती सोशल सर्वीस ना. दीज आर ऑल कॉर्पोरेट. सो जेन्ना दिल्ली गँग रेप जालो तेन्ना तो एक विषय आशिल्लो. दॅट टायम देर वॉज म्हणजे वॉट हाव आय लूक दिस इश्यू, तेच म्हणजे त्या दृष्टिकोनान हांव सांगता. कदाचित तेज्या वयर आनीक थोडे थियरीज आसूं शकता, आनीक कसले स्टडीज आसूं शकता, फायंडिंग्स आसूं शकता. बट एज अ सिंपल पर्सन हाव आय लूक दिस इश्यूज दॅट आय एम एक्सप्रेसिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. दिल्ली रेप जालो, गँग रेप जालो, तेन्ना हो विशय कित्याक मांडलो आसतलो, की थंयसर TRPचे रिडरशीप सर्क्युलेशनाची एक गणित आशिल्लें. त्या गणिता खातीर तो रेप वयर पावलो. आतां सुद्दां कितलेशे गँग रेप जात आसतले, पण ते कितले पेपरार येता आनी कितले मिडिया कवरेज ताका मेळटा खबर ना आमकां. तशेंच हे बाकीचे विशय आसा, म्हणजे आतां बारीक विशय दिलो लायक दीस स्मॉल बल्ब बस्ट आउट बिकॉज ऑफ शॉर्ट सर्किट. We don't require any electrical engineer to tell us that move out from this hall or otherwise switch off the main button. आमकां पयलींच खबर आसता की अरे जळटलें हांगासर बेगी बेगीन भायर वचपाक जाय. So we know the dangerous of this thing, seriousness of this short circuit. तशेंच हे जे सगळे विशय आसा तितलेच जर आमी सिरियसली घेतले लायक इलेक्ट्रिकल शॉर्ट सर्किट जाल्यार हें जातलें. म्हणजे त्या सिस्टमाकूच खबर आशिल्ली की पळय आतां जर हांव रिएक्ट जावंक ना जाल्यार हांव अशें जातलें म्हणून तो चेंज जालो आसतलो. ह्यो बाकीचे करप्शनाक आमकां अशें दिसना. इट इज नॉट लायक अ शॉर्ट सर्किट. आमकां दिसना की अशें जातलें आनी उजो लावंक शकता बाबा म्हणून. आमी म्हणटा करप्शन आसूं, आमी कितें म्हणटा इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शन आसूं. जेन्ना अशें लायक आमी तेन्ना अशी शॉर्ट सर्किट जातली उजो हो जातलो अशें जेन्ना आमी चिंततले पळय तेन्नाच ही सिस्टम वील नील डावन. अदरवायज आमची सिस्टम काम करिना. आमी कितले बरयल्ले आवर जॉब इज टू टेल यू वॉट एक्झॅक्टली हॅज हॅपन. तशेंच बरेचशे पेपरांनी जायना वा मिडियांनी जायना, कितें कितें भितरल्या भितर इंटरफियरन्स जाता आसतले. पण आमचे तरेन म्हाजे सारको मनीस तरी प्रयत्न करता जाता तेच दिवपाचे तुमच्या कडेन. पण तशें जायना. आवर जॉब इज टू गिव यू इन्फॉर्मेशन. हे अमूक जाला टू टेल यू वायटली. आनी तुमी कितें करपाक जाय ते लोकांचेर आसा. म्हणजे आमी बरेच रावतले आनी इफ यू डोंट गेट पीपल सपोर्ट वॉट वी कॅन डू. मिडिया बरें रावले अशें जालें तशें जालें. अन्य आतां सबिना मार्टिन्सन मॅडमीन सांगलें आमकां अशें जालें. हांव एक व्हडलो आर्टिकल बरयता पण नोबडी वील कम आउट. कितें फायदो जालो ती रद्दी जातली. ती आमकां केन्ना केन्ना एक एक विशय सांगत रावता. आमी आपले पॅन झरयता. जर लोकूच येवपा ना फुडें जाल्यार कितें जालें. रेपाचें कशें जालें. रेपाचें TRP आशिल्लो, बाकीचें कॅल्क्युलेशन आशिल्ली, बरयले लोक मातशे भायर सरले, लोक भिले. सगळीं तेंची कॅल्क्युलेशन आसली. इलेक्शन आशिल्लें आनी कितें आशिल्लें ऑपोजिशन आशिल्लें आनी कोण आशिल्लें म्हणून तेजेर मातशें जाल्यार इम्प्लिमेंटेशन खंय आमकां कितें आसा तें तुमकांय खबर आसा आमकांय खबर आसा. पूण मातशें तरी जालें. तशें जर आमी एक जर विशय बरयलो एक आर्टिकल जाल्यार ते सगळे लोक येवपाक जाय. कितें काय म्हणून सिस्टम काम करता. कितें म्हणटा ती एक हिंदीन म्हण आसा ती युक्ती है दुनिया झुकाने वाला चाहिए. तशें जर कोण करता जाल्यार कित्याक सिस्टम बदलना. इवन ती आमची एग्जाम्पल म्हणून घेवपाक शकता आमी दिल्ली आम आदमी पार्टी. कितें जावं तें मागीर जे खंयचें इम्प्लिकेशन फुडें कितें जालें कितें खबर ना. पूण कितें तरी चेंज म्हणटा तो लोकांनी करून दाखयलो. ते मागीर पडले सरकार वा आनी खंय जालें वा कितें काय आनी कितले फाटे फुटले आमकां पूण लोकांनी दाखोवन दिलें. तशें जर मातशें जर लोक आतां मात उलोवपाक लागलो जाल्यार जावंक शकता. पूण आमी कितें करता करप्शन हें भितरूच म्हणजे कदाचित चुकीचें आसूं शकता. पूण म्हाका अशें दिसता तें हांव उलयतां की आमी तें घेयच ना कितें चूक म्हणून. सादें म्हणजे आतां बर्थ सर्टिफिकेटान आमी फ्रॉजरी करता, नांव चेंज करता, कोणाची कितें इन्कम सर्टिफिकेट आमी फ्रॉजरी करता, पंचायत डॉक्युमेंट्स आमी फ्रॉजरी करता. तें आमकां दिसना की आमी चूक ना आसूं तें जातलें तें अशें मातशें हें कर. कोण म्हणटा आनी कितें करता, कोण कितें इल्लिगल प्लॉट घेता, कोण इल्लिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शन करता. तें आमकांच खबर ना की आमी चुकीचें करता. कित्याक तें आमच्या भितून कितें दैनंदीन जिवनान तें विसरून गेलां की आमी करप्शन म्हणना. आमी जेन्ना ब्रायब दिता तेन्ना म्हाजें काम जावपाक जाय हांव दिता. हें जेन्ना तुकाच दिसना की तूं करता तें चुकीचें करता जाल्यार तूं सिस्टम कितें बदलतलो, कितें म्हणटलो. हांवें कितले कडेन पयशे दिले आसतले मागीर हांव उलोवन कितें उलोवंक तें ब्रायब कन्स्ट्रक्शन आपलें करप्शन आसा म्हणून हांवें केन्ना कोणाक 500 रुपया दिल्ले आसतले. अशें खंयच्या तोंडान हांव उलयतलें. अशें प्रत्येक मनीस जेन्ना हें चिंततलो वा ते प्रत्येक मनीस हें चिंततलो की आपूण दिवचो ना हांव उलयतलो जाल्यारूच ही सिस्टम चेंज जावपाक शकता. अदरवायज ह्या सिस्टमीक कांय आमी कितली बरोवपाक आनी पेपराचेर सुद्दां कितले आमचेरूच चेपण आसता. एक कितले फावटी जाल्ली आसा की बातमी अमक्या कॉलमाक अमक्या पेजीक लायलेली दुसरे येता ती येयी बी ना. केन्ना येता ती खंयच्या खंय येतें जालें ना कोणाक नाही उलयतलें हें कित्याक केलें काय म्हणून. ज्या दिसा आमी उलयली त्या दिसा यू आर गॉन. हे सगळें सांगपाचें अशें ना. पूण तशें म्हाज्या समज आनी म्हटलें ना हांव कितें तरी म्हाजे वेगळे चून मांडटलें वेगळे पेपर कोण वाचता. कोण दिलें ताका जायरात. पेपर हो सर्क्युलेशनाचेर चलना. म्हाजी सॅलरी आसा ती सर्क्युलेशनाचेर तुमी 2 रुपयान पेपर घेता 4 रुपयान पेपर घेता तेतून आमची सॅलरी जायना. ती जायरातीचेर कोण दिता असल्या पेपराक जायरात, कोण दिता असल्या मासिकाक जायरात जो खरें बरयता ताका. जे कोण कॉर्पोरेट व्हडले करतले तांकां मेळटलें आनी ते जर व्हडले बरोवपाक जाय जाल्यार हे सगळे कडेन सायलेंट करची पडटली. हेच मिडियाचो सगळो म्हणजे बाकीचे जे विशय आसात जर ते आमकां मांडपाक जाय जाल्यार आमकां सपोर्ट हो जाय. एक बरयलें फाल्यां तुमी उठोवंक जाय. आमी इतलें करतले, आमी तलवार घेवन भायर वचूंक शकना. आमी फक्त आमचें काम बरोवपाचें. वायट बरयलें हें आनी तोंडां पडा आमची. खोटें बरयलें हें आनी तोंड म्हणजे तेन्ना आमचेर वचूंक उरला बाबा कितें बरोवपाक जायना. मागीर कितें जाता, मागीर ते पेडणें जाता. जेन्ना तुमीच रिएक्ट जायना तेन्ना पेडणें जाता. काय ना कितेंय बरय तूं कितें जालां आमकां कोण हात लायता. तूं हात लायशीत तुजेर बरयतलो, तूं हात लायशीत तुजेर बरयता. जेन्ना आमकांच भंय ना जाल्यार तुमचो भंय ना आमकां आनी आमचो भंय ना तुमकां जाल्यार कशें जातलें. सर लोकांनी हे चिंतपाक जाय की धाकटेशें जर कोणी फूट सुद्दां जालें म्हणजे एक सादो बल्ब जर शॉर्ट सर्किटाक वयता जाल्यार आमी अख्खी काळजी घेता, आख्खे हे सगळें चेंज करता. जाल्यार तशेंच आमी जर बारीक बारीक गजालीचेर खूब सिरियस जाली जाल्यार हळू चेंज आनी चेंज जाता. केलो जाल्यार चेंज जाता. आतां इतिहासान जाल्लें आसा आमी पळयलें तें 4-5 वर्सां खूब चेंज जाल्लो आसा. लोक खरो चेंज करून लायता पूण मागीर तो कितलो रिटेन उरता तें खबर ना. पूण जावंक शकता जर प्रयत्न केलो जाल्यार. आणखी एक 2-3 पॉयंट आशिल्ले म्हाजे. हे आमचें एज्युकेशन सेक्टर गोंयाच्या एज्युकेशन सेक्टरान खुबशे अशे प्रॉब्लेम आसा. म्हणजे आमी जितली दिता शिकोवपाक जितली कितली पॉलिसी आसा जितले स्किमी आसा भुरगीं खरी शिकता तेतून तितले एक चडशे कोण मानिना. तशेंच आमचे चायल्ड लेबर अजुनूय आसा. म्हणजे आमी शेक्सान बारान खंयच्या धाकट्या धाकट्या शॉपांनी ल्हान भुरग्यांक पळयता पणजे तर कितलेशेच भुरगे तुमकांच सर्व करता आमचेच फुड्यान. आमी कितेंच उलोवंक शकना. आमी खंय कितें सिस्टम म्हणजे आमी इतली आमचो जो आमी जेन्ना आमी थंड रावता पळय म्हणजे हेजे कडेन आमी कितें रिएक्शनूच करना. मागीर कितें फायदो जालो. चायल्ड लेबर आमचे दोळे तेकच चलता. आमकां खबर ना आमची भुरगीं ल्हान आमची भुरगीं न्हू ही भायली भुरगीं पूण शेवटी भुरगींच न्ही ती भायर अशी भोंवता भीक मागता. तेन्ना आमी ओग्गी रावची पडटा. कांयच मांडे तर कांय अशें चडटा ती भुरगीं ल्हान अशी घेवन येतात आनी तुमचे कडेन भीक मागता पळय तेन्ना त्या भुरग्यांनी सामकी न्हिदिली. हांव कितले फावटी हो उलयता विशय कितें भुरगीं म्हाजी जीव सामको येना तें कितें म्हण करपाचें अशें दिसता की कितें घरांत म्हणजे हांव जरी तांकां येडप केलें जाल्यार तें जावपा ना. म्हणजे अशी ही तेजेर उपाय न्ही. एक्चुली हे बॅगिंग बंद करपाक जाय. म्हणजे त्या ल्हान भुरग्यांक तुमी घेवन येता ती रात न्हिदता दिसभर ती कोणाची बुद्धी आसता ताका कितें घातलेलें आसता ती कितें जाल्यार कांय खबर ना. आनी आमी ओग्गी रावता. म्हणजे जर आमी इतली शिकलेली सवलेली दोतोर इंजिनियर जर भायर फटाफट करून सगळीं भोंवता रस्त्यार आमकां ती दिसता आमच्या कडेन मागता वयल्यान ती व्हडले आसता पण म्हणजे व्हडले शोरुमांनीच थंय फुडेंच उबी आसता. म्हणजे कोणते जे पेस्ट्री कॉटेज पॅलेस आनी म्हणजे खंय व्हडले लोक येता पळय ते तांकां 40 रुपया 50 रुपया दिता आनी आमी सारको म्हणजे 2 रुपया दिता. थंयच रावता. तेन्ना ते इतले शिकलेले पूण तेंचे काळी चड जायना. ते म्हणना हें करपाक जाय म्हणून. आनी हांवें बरयलें हांवें 5 बरयलें आनी कितें फोटो काडले आनी कितें सांगलें ते चिल्ड्रन कमिशनाच्या मनशाक विचारलें आनी कोणाक विचार कितें फायदो जावं आमकां हें म्हणटा ती आनी कोणाक जाता म्हणटा म्हणटा तो स्कीम आसा कोण म्हणटा कोणाची कोणाची पॉलिसी आसा कितले म्हणून बरयतले आनी ती कितें फ्रंट पेजी स्टोरी येता अशें न्हू. लिमिटेशन्स आसा. सो आय वायंड अप. सॉरी हांव जर चुकीचें उलयलें जाल्यार
खरें उलयलें आमचे ऑफिसर. Thank you, Samamitra, for highlighting the internal dynamics and compulsions that work in media organizations, and also for bringing into focus the complementarity that is necessary from the public to respond, to give encouragement to those who care and dare to write about these issues, and also to shun those who do not write about these issues and about these kinds of concerns and decide to focus on very extraneous, not down to earth matters on the headlines. So thank you. We've had 3 different kinds of presentations from 3 different kinds of personalities also, and I'm sure you will have a lot to ask and give your suggestions and comments also.
I have raised up a lot of issues regarding child labor and especially noise pollution and any other things related to plus prostitution. Now the problem every time we face rescuing children at 1 PM, 1 AM at Tito's Lane. I've actually been a very active member of doing this. But then Apnagar is not in the position. This the next thing the police says, where do we take these children? Then the other issue comes up, there are organizations which are headed by religious bodies. And these innocent children are actually, taken, and I've been with some, I don't want to name the organization, but I feel that they have been forced, religion is forced on them.
It is like this. What she is trying to say is, when we speak of media, we should have media literacy. Try and understand that Sanghamitra as a reporter of a local paper, or I as a reporter of the journal. So what happens is, media content is driven much more by the interest of the organization, that is the business management. So what she is trying to tell you is that she, like a reporter, me like a journalist, or representing an organization or a paper or electronic media, we and you as people are on the same page. So if you want put in the same struggle, we are in the same struggle with you to buy my space for you, for people's content, and the management is trying to drag that content towards revenue. So in this struggle, unless you strengthen our hands, when she writes about public issues, if you don't respond, her management will say, why are you wasting my space for people who are not bothered about that? So that is what she is trying to say. So for both to come together, it is you should understand that we are on the same page.
Neither the media coverage nor the whatever of the incident which was responsible for the change in the law. It is just that sometimes there is something where there is a confluence of events, where someone becomes a CM or a PM or reaches a certain, that it was just that boiling point where it happened. Okay, because we had far more serious cases than that. Okay, and therefore you had the change in the law. But that does not mean that we have to wait for such a case to happen, or that to reach that kind of a peak. Because media has its own role, it has its strengths, it has its weaknesses, it has its limitations. So let us not glorify media either. The same thing with your groups which come together sometimes. They have their strengths, they have their limitations, they have their other, whatever. But the fact is that we cannot certainly be thinking that the change of law, you had a Justice Verma. If you didn't have a Justice Verma, you would certainly not have such drastic changes, or that kind of a definition of rape, or that kind. So it is just that all those things came together. If there can be a response to this in some way, since the session was actually this
point that media by itself cannot be the kind of the savior of humanity. The media is also performing its a particular role. They can and they should perform that role. I just want to add one other dimension, because the subject is not exactly saying it, but the whole thing is that even when we are talking of rape cases, I think the whole focus on when the cases are being covered is on covering the actual acts of what exactly was done, and not to look at the context in which it is happening.
Graphic description.
Sorry? Graphic description, yes, of what happened. Whereas, whereas the context in which it is happening is not really looked at. And I would like to share a little bit about the Kanpur, rape murder. There, the entire discussion, everyone is talking about catching the culprit. This is what the media is saying, but there are many other serious issues on the ground. There, it is a question of also the vulnerability today of the fishing community and the fisherwomen. The fishing community, the people who worked in the cashew nut plantations, they worked as a community. Today, they were in some ways, I don't want to talk of harking back to a glorious past. We didn't have a glorious past or something. But definitely there were certain factors which were empowering, and they have been, that carpet has been removed, or rather the net has been removed from their hands, with the whole area being taken over by these huge resorts, with the area becoming a drug hub. So these are the factors in the context of which this rape is happening. People are talking about the area being isolated, she was walking through an isolated way. The women are saying, we worked in these cashew plantations in the past. We never felt unsafe. We feel unsafe now with a whole lot of people who we don't know who's that neighbor next door, because there is no system for engagement and interaction, and we have a lot of politicians who play divide and rule. Those are migrants, these are the Muslims, those are Hindus, those are Pagis, those are Desais. This is what is happening, and therefore there is no unity to work, because we are so blinkered by these divisions that there is no unity to work on the core issue of safety, on the concept that a woman should not be, that the woman is not a commodity to be used and abused. So therefore, I want to say, while concluding, apart from all that has been said, that the media should not just sensationalize. I understand the limitations, and as my Sangamitra said, there is this TRP, etc. But where we can, I think, and of course the media or managements need to get the message from all of us that we are looking not for just those graphic details. Yes, we might want to know what happened. Of course, we want to know what happened. But we want to know why it's happening, what is the situation that is making it conducive to happen. Otherwise, the demands for catch the culprit means that they catch anybody that they think they don't like, the police don't like. They catch the person and book him and say, we've caught the culprit. And then we are all very happy because the culprit is caught, so-called culprit is caught. But it may not necessarily be the real culprit. It is maybe the person of a member of a particular community which community or section of people is vulnerable. That this is the crux of what a lot of what is happening when it comes to coverage of individual cases, and that's what I also wanted to highlight. I do not want to even attempt to summarize, because everyone has richly stated their issues, and so I will bring this.